They promise the power of classic two-strokes with none of the mess. No smoky exhaust, no constant upkeep, just pure, reliable power. Evinrude's E-TEC engines represented the pinnacle of two-stroke technology, a true American innovation that should have dominated our waterways for decades. Evinrude's E-TEC engines revolutionized boating with pioneering direct injection technology that outperformed even the cleanest four-strokes. Yet despite this breakthrough, the US government's regulations forced these engines out, stalling one of the greatest innovations in marine propulsion. So, why was it killed off, and is there more behind this story than meets the eye? Let's find out how the US government is holding back your boat engines. For decades, the battle between two-stroke and four-stroke outboard engines defined American boating. Two-strokes were lightweight, powerful, and simple. The workhorses that powered everything from john boats to offshore fishing rigs. But they had a problem. They were dirty, spewing unburned fuel and oil directly into our waterways. Evinrude, founded by Ole Evinrude in 1907, built its legacy on two-stroke innovation. For over a century, they refined and improved this technology, culminating in their crowning achievement, the E-TEC system. Launched in 2003, E-TEC wasn't just another two-stroke. It was revolutionary, using direct injection technology. It burned fuel more efficiently than traditional carbureted engines. It ran cleaner than many four-strokes, started instantly even after months of storage, and required no dealer maintenance for 3 years or 300 hours. Unheard of in the outboard world. The E-TEC didn't just meet EPA standards, it exceeded them, earning the EPA's Clean Air Excellence Award in 2005. It seemed like Evinrude had cracked the code, bringing old-school two-stroke muscle into the 21st century without sacrificing a thing. If you've ever experienced the raw power of an E-TEC or wondered why these revolutionary engines disappeared, hit that subscribe button. We're exposing how regulations are reshaping boating technology, and our next video reveals what happened with Mercury's response to these same EPA challenges. Behind the scenes of Evinrude's innovation, the EPA was systematically tightening its grip on marine engines through increasingly stringent emissions regulations. The agency's Tier 3 marine emission standards, phased in between 2010 and 2012, demanded dramatic reductions in hydrocarbon and nitrogen oxide emissions, up to 70% lower than previous standards. These were a set of strict rules established by the EPA requiring marine engines to dramatically lower pollutants like hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides. What was the goal? Meeting these rules means engines must be designed with advanced technology that limits the release of smog-forming chemicals. While E-TEC engines were technically compliant with these regulations, the market perception had already shifted dramatically against two-stroke technology. The EPA's public messaging consistently positioned four-stroke engines as the cleaner alternative, despite evidence that advanced two-strokes like the E-TEC could match or exceed their environmental performance. The E-TEC was actually cleaner than many four-strokes in its class. But try explaining that to a customer who's been told for years that two-strokes are dirty. The EPA created a narrative that was almost impossible to overcome. This regulatory uncertainty made dealers increasingly nervous about carrying Evinrude products. Many began dropping the line entirely, unwilling to invest in inventory and specialized training for a technology they feared might be regulated out of existence with the next EPA announcement. The irony was palpable. Evinrude had created an engine that met or exceeded all environmental standards, yet was still viewed as part of the problem rather than the solution. As one former Evinrude executive put in a 2019 interview, "We're fighting perception, not reality. Our engines pass every test the EPA throws at them, but the market has been conditioned to believe four-stroke is the only clean option." The EPA's approach created a self-fulfilling prophecy. By focusing on technology-neutral emission standards in theory, but consistently promoting four-stroke technology in practice, they effectively pushed innovative two-stroke technology to the margins. Dealers, facing uncertain regulatory futures, increasingly abandoned Evinrude, despite the E-TEC's technical compliance with all current standards. For Evinrude, this regulatory chokehold would prove impossible to escape. On May 27, 2020, Bombardier Recreational Products (BRP), Evinrude's parent company, shocked the boating world by announcing the immediate end of Evinrude outboard production. A 113-year legacy of American innovation was gone overnight, leaving thousands of loyal customers and hundreds of dealers in stunned disbelief. While BRP cited challenging times and a need to focus on other product lines, the writing had been on the wall for years. The company had invested over $500 million in the E-TEC technology, including the advanced G2 engines launched in 2014, only to watch their market share steadily erode despite technical excellence. It wasn't just one thing that killed Evinrude, explains one marine industry analyst. It was death by 1,000 cuts. The EPA regulations themselves weren't impossible to meet. E-TEC proved that, but the regulatory uncertainty, combined with the market shift toward four-strokes, created an environment where dealers were hesitant to stock Evinrude products. Former Evinrude dealers tell a similar story. "We loved the product," they said. "E-TECs were reliable, powerful, and customers who had them loved them. But every year, we'd hear rumors about new EPA regulations that might make them obsolete. Eventually, we couldn't justify the risk." The decision left thousands of Evinrude owners in limbo, wondering about future parts availability and service support. BRP promised to honor warranties and maintain parts supply, but the damage was done. Resale values plummeted overnight as potential buyers feared owning an orphaned product. Perhaps most tragically, the technology that could have saved two-stroke engines, making them as clean or cleaner than four-strokes while maintaining their inherent advantages, was now effectively dead. The massive R&D investment in E-TEC would never be fully realized. EPA regulations, while aimed at cleaner waterways, may have choked the life out of two-stroke innovation just as it was hitting its stride. Evinrude's E-TEC engines, with their direct injection technology, slashed emissions by up to 70% compared to traditional two-strokes, rivaling four-strokes in efficiency and cleanliness. But the EPA's focus on four-strokes as the clean option created a market bias that starved two-stroke R&D. Without funding or dealer support, advancements stalled. Imagine where we could be today. Lighter, more powerful two-strokes with hybrid systems, integrating electric assist for instant torque, or advanced biofuels for even lower emissions. Picture an E-TEC G3 with AI-optimized fuel delivery, cutting maintenance to near zero while boosting power-to-weight ratios beyond today's four-strokes. These possibilities, once within reach, were sidelined as manufacturers pivoted to safer, regulator-friendly four-stroke designs. I've heard one engineer say the EPA didn't ban two-strokes outright, but their narrative killed the incentive to innovate. For boaters, this means heavier, pricier engines and fewer options for lightweight performance. Could a balanced regulatory approach have saved two-strokes' future? Share your thoughts below as we explore what boating lost. In the wake of Evinrude's demise, the outboard market had shifted dramatically, leaving a technological void that remains unfilled. High-quality two-stroke technology is now largely reserved for commercial applications and specialized racing engines, where performance and power-to-weight ratios trump consumer perceptions and regulatory concerns. Meanwhile, recreational boaters seeking affordable two-stroke options are left with few choices. Brands like Hankai, Parson, and other budget manufacturers have filled the gap with low-cost two-stroke offerings. But these engines lack the refinement, reliability, and clean-burning technology of the E-TEC. They represent a significant step backward in terms of emissions, efficiency, and performance. Ever heard someone say these budget two-strokes are essentially 1980s technology, carbureted, smoky, and inefficient? Without Evinrude pushing innovation in the two-stroke space, we've lost decades of progress. It's like comparing a modern smartphone to a rotary telephone. The result is a market dominated by four-stroke technology, with little incentive for manufacturers to invest in two-stroke research and development. The unique advantages of two-strokes, lighter weight, simpler maintenance, better hole shot, and superior power-to-weight ratios, are increasingly hard to find in the recreational market. For bass anglers, flats fishermen, and others who value these characteristics, the options have narrowed considerably. As a professional bass angler puts it, my E-TEC 250 weighed 100 pounds less than the 4-stroke that replaced it. That's 100 pounds less I can carry in tackle and gear. The EPA might not care about that, but I sure do. Even more concerning is the impact on innovation itself. With Evinrude gone, the remaining outboard manufacturers face less competitive pressure to develop breakthrough technologies. The industry has largely consolidated around variations of similar 4-stroke designs, with differentiation coming more from styling and electronics than fundamental propulsion technology. We've lost the technological diversity that drives true invention. When you have different approaches competing in the marketplace, everyone wins. Now we have a monoculture of 4-strokes, and the pace of real innovation has noticeably slowed. Before we dive into how the EPA's regulations actually sparked innovation, take a second to like this video if you've owned a 2-stroke outboard. The battle between 2-stroke and 4-stroke technology isn't over, and your support helps us continue investigating these industry-changing stories. Evinrude's E-TEC engines were a powerhouse, but how do they stack up against modern 4-strokes and budget 2-strokes like Hankai? Let's dive into the stats. The E-TEC 250 delivered 250 horsepower at just 418 pounds, with 30% better fuel efficiency than older 2-strokes, burning about 10 gallons per hour at full throttle. Compare that to a modern 4-stroke like Yamaha's F250, which matches the horsepower but weighs 550 pounds and sips 11 gallons per hour. The E-TEC's lighter frame gave it a killer power-to-weight ratio, perfect for speed-hungry bass anglers. Reliability. E-TECs ran 300 hours without maintenance, rivaling 4-stroke service intervals. Now enter budget 2-strokes like Hankai's 40 HP model, a measly 40 horsepower, a hefty 170 pounds, and a 35 gallons per hour with 1980s-era emissions. Hankai's break down twice as often, said one user I spoke to. These numbers show E-TEC's brilliance. Light, powerful, and efficient. Want to see how it compares head-to-head with today's top engines? Like this video and subscribe for next week's performance showdown. Despite the loss of E-TEC, there's another side to this story. The EPA's stringent emission standards have driven remarkable innovation in marine propulsion, forcing manufacturers to develop cleaner, more efficient technologies that might otherwise have evolved much more slowly. Today's 4-stroke outboards are technological marvels compared to their predecessors from just 15 years ago. Mercury's Verado line features supercharged engines with advanced electronic control systems. Yamaha's XTO Offshore series delivers massive torque from high-displacement blocks with direct fuel injection. Even smaller engines have benefited, with Honda's BF100 offering variable valve timing in a package that would have seemed impossible before emissions regulations. The 4-strokes we're selling today are light years ahead of what we had when the EPA first started regulating marine emissions, say certain marine dealers. They're 40% more fuel efficient, significantly quieter, and in many cases more powerful than the 2-strokes they replaced. That innovation was driven largely by regulatory pressure. The push for cleaner engines has also accelerated development in alternative propulsion. Electric outboards from companies like Torqeedo, Pure Watercraft, and Vision Marine are gaining traction in certain markets. Mercury Marine recently unveiled its first fully electric outboard concept, while Yamaha has invested heavily in hydrogen fuel cell technology for marine applications. Even BRP, after discontinuing Evinrude, announced plans to develop electric outboards, a direct response to the changing regulatory landscape. Their first electric models are expected to hit the market by 2026, potentially bringing the innovation that characterized E-TEC to the electric space. Regulations force innovation. Without the EPA pushing for cleaner engines, we might still be running the same smoky 2-strokes from the 1980s. Yes, we lost E-TEC, but we gained a whole new generation of cleaner, more efficient propulsion systems. For consumers, this has translated to tangible benefits. Engines that start more reliably, run more quietly, use less fuel, require less maintenance, and produce fewer emissions. Modern 4-strokes now routinely last 3,000 plus hours with proper maintenance, longevity that was rare in the pre-regulation era. While the EPA's regulations reshaped the US boating landscape, global approaches to marine emissions tell a different story. In Europe, the Recreational Craft Directive (RCD) enforces strict emission standards, but its predictable, phased-in timeline gave manufacturers breathing room. This allowed companies like Tohatsu to refine two-stroke technologies for smaller markets, maintaining their presence in regions like Scandinavia, where lightweight engines are prized for shallow waters. Europe's clarity letters plan, say some marine consultants. Two-strokes still thrive in niche applications. In Japan, gradual emissions rules preserved two-stroke options for commercial fishing, balancing environmental goals with practical needs. Australia mirrors this, with two-strokes powering remote coastal operations. Meanwhile, China's lax regulations until recently flooded developing markets with cheap, polluting two-strokes from brands like Parson. However, China's new standards are pushing cleaner designs, though they lag behind E-TEC's advancements. The International Maritime Organization's IMO sulfur limits for larger vessels also influence recreational diesel engines, creating a complex global patchwork. Manufacturers must now design for the strictest markets, sidelining unique technologies like E-TEC that couldn't scale globally. This global lens shows how regulatory differences shape innovation or stifle it. Subscribe to see how these trends impact your next boat purchase. The fall of Evinrude's E-TEC forced boaters to confront a trade-off: cleaner waterways at the cost of technological diversity. EPA regulations, while killing two-stroke innovation, spurred four-stroke advancements. Modern four-strokes like Mercury's Verado or Yamaha's XTO are 40% more fuel-efficient and quieter than their pre-regulation counterparts, with lifespans exceeding 3,000 hours. Regulations pushed us to rethink engine design, say certain marine dealers. Electric outboards from Torqeedo and Mercury's new concept signal a future beyond fossil fuels, driven by regulatory pressure. Yet the loss of E-TEC's lightweight, powerful design hurts anglers and flats fishermen who need agility. "My four-stroke replacement is reliable, but weighs 100 pounds more," laments one bass angler. The market now leans heavily on four-strokes, with budget two-strokes like Honkai offering poor efficiency and high emissions, a step backward. This monoculture slows innovation, as manufacturers face less competition to push boundaries. Could a more flexible regulatory approach have preserved E-TEC's breakthroughs while still cleaning our waters? For environmentalists, reduced emissions are a win. For boaters, the loss of choice stings. What's your take? Did regulation save boating or kill a legend? Drop your thoughts below and join our next video comparing E-TEC G2 performance to today's top engines. The question remains, was it worth it? Did we need to lose E-TEC and similar technologies to achieve these environmental gains? Or could a more balanced regulatory approach have preserved innovation while still protecting our waterways? The answer likely depends on your perspective. For the bass angler who prized his lightweight, powerful E-TEC, the loss feels unnecessary. For the environmentalist concerned about water quality, the transition to cleaner technologies represents essential progress. What do you think? Did the EPA save boating by forcing cleaner technologies, or did it kill a legend unnecessarily? Could E-TEC have survived with a different regulatory approach? Or was it inevitable that four-stroke and electric technologies would eventually dominate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you've ever owned an E-TEC or have strong feelings about marine regulations, share your experience. This conversation is far from over, and your voice matters.